Hey everyone. Welcome to my channel B&B Glow. Endgame for Nick and Brooke? The hint from Wagner. Taylor cringes. Rich just has to say it once. Nick Marone will be making a comeback on Bold and the Beautiful. Jack Wagner, who played him, gave away some tasty details about what to anticipate. Despite Nick's brief summer comeback, it's about Brooke, Logan and Nick having a happy ever after. Vibrant and lovely, Nick Marone's magnificent summer comeback. It looks like Mr. Marone and Ms. Logan might have more in store. We are going to discuss Nick and Brooke's future plans. Even after this story cycle ends, we'll talk about what might happen to them in the future. Bold and Beautiful. Jack Wagner teases the future by saying Nick and Brooke are endgame. The significant return of Nick Marone and the romance life of Brooke Logan. On Friday the 13th, Jack Wagner was scheduled to make his big comeback as Nick Marone. But in May, as you recall, there was a preemption. Thus, his premiere was postponed by one episode. On Monday, June 16th, expect to see Brooke's attractive ex. Jack Wagner has been on a PR blitz lately. He has promoted his comeback in a number of interviews. Additionally, he hinted at what fans may anticipate from Nick and Brooke. He also gave some information about the present head of Marone Industries possibly making a comeback. Will Nick Marone and Brooke Logan rekindle their romance in Bold and the Beautiful? For this summer arc, Nick will return to Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke is his top priority. He wants her to break the long-term, destructive loop she has been in with Ridge Forrester. Nick wants Brooke to know that his feelings for her are still strong. He thinks he, not Ridge, is the man for her. Rekindling that flame with Brooke is Nick's first priority. Nick will surprise Brooke just when her heart is destroyed, according to Jack Wagner. Ridge is clearly to blame for this. Getting Brooke to realize the madness she has been enmeshed in for so long is one of Nick's main goals. Naturally, Ridge is taking advantage of her because of that lunacy. The difficult relationship between Ridge Forrester and Nick and Brooke. Between her and Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, Ridge acts like a playboy. He doesn't shoot straight. He is not loyal to either of them. Nick, meanwhile, is completely focused on Brooke during this comeback. The actor claimed to have collaborated with Brad Bell. To ensure that Nick's homecoming had the right effect, it sounds like a little teamwork. In summary, Nick wants Brooke to become aware of Ridge. His goal is to gain her affection. That's all. Nick's top priority is Brooke. Hot summer spoilers. Bold and the Beautiful's love triangle with Brooke, Nick, and Ridge. Nick wants Brooke to realize that her relationship with Ridge Forrester isn't working well. Her future might lie with him. It seems possible now that Brooke is crushed. Naturally, we are aware that Jack Wagner is leaving. Not at this moment, anyhow. This runs counter to some false information that is circulated on soap opera social media and on some dubious clickbait websites. He does not have a deal with Nick. This will be Brooke and Nick's sultry summer romance, and it will linger for several weeks. Even though Jack Wagner had to depart to continue filming When Calls the Heart, the important information is that it could not be over by the summer. Will Nick Marone make a comeback after the summer? The big scoop is that Nick and Brooke may have more in store. Fans will witness a completely different Nick this time, according to Jack Wagner. Quite unlike the person he used to be. Once upon a time, Nick lived on his boat and worked for Massimo Marone, his father. Now, Nick is more than simply a sailor who crashes on the shady Marlin. He is now well known. In his own right, he is a mogul. Nick 2.0, from B&B sailor to B&B mogul. Nick Marone is operating Marone Shipping since his father passed away. He truly is a tycoon. He has become a very rich man. He is very confident as he comes back to save Brooke from her Ridge-addicted foolishness. It is revitalizing. It's a fresh perspective on Nick. Nick 2.0, 3.0. According to Jack Wagner, he is portraying Nick as fearless this time. With Brooke, he will be taking significant action. Naturally, Nick has scenes with his half-brother as well. They'll go for it, boy. Their admiration for one another has never existed. This rivalry is intensifying. Ridge Forrester versus Nick Marone, a sibling battle. Nick is a different person now. Ridge has not changed. Nick considers Ridge to be a minor annoyance. Ridge will become irate when Nick dismisses him and doesn't take him seriously. Nick is contemptuous of Ridge. Both Ridge and the fans should find it somewhat upsetting. I'm very excited to see that. The problem is that Ridge and Nick shouldn't compete for Brooke's affections. Ridge was with Taylor the last time I looked. He continues to turn Brooke away, claiming he must keep his word. He must remain with Taylor. At a crossroads, independence, Nick, or Ridge for Brooke Logan. That isn't precisely a proclamation of love. Nick, meanwhile, attacks Brooke with confident, male vigor. He's a big success now. He makes a lot of decisions. Waffle Boy is not Nick's style. He makes that a major selling point to Brooke. She is aware of his position. She is aware that she is his top priority. The bold and the beautiful, Brooke Logan and Nick Marone. Options for Brooke. Is it possible for her to leave Ridge for Nick? Additionally, according to Jack Wagner, Nick is pressuring Brooke to see things clearly. He wants her to understand that the decisions she's making for herself might not be the best ones. They will part ways, at least for the time being, even after Nick departs. The Brooke he leaves behind will be a different person. Perhaps she has really come to her senses. Nick and Brooke stay on Bold and the Beautiful ends with a large-scale location shot in Italy, in addition to sequences in Los Angeles. It goes without saying that Italy is a romantic destination. The romantic journey of Nick and Brooke on B&B in Italy. The major news with Nick in this comeback is that there might be more to come. We'll see more returns in the future. Jack Wagner's return was apparently written by Brad Bell as a kind of cliffhanger. When Nick departs, it will be completely up to him to come back to Brooke when Jack Wagner has more time to shoot. According to the actor, this might only be the first installment. For Nick and Brooke, there might be a genuine future. He expressed his admiration for the plot that Brad Bell and his team came up with. He described it as almost jaw-dropping. What's up next for Brooke Logan and Nick Marone on B&B? The possibility of Brooke and Nick living together on B&B is open, according to Jack Wagner. This time, Nick is only coming back to win Brooke. Nick seems to be making progress in persuading her that Ridge is not the right man for her. Not her fate. Before he needs to leave, Nick and Brooke will have a few weeks to indulge in their intense affair. Filming season 13 of the Hallmark series When Calls the Heart had to begin, of course, for Jack Wagner. However, it doesn't seem to be a breakup when Nick must part ways with Brooke. They seem to be truly laying the groundwork for Nick's return. It's going to eat at Ridge, boy. It appears that he wants Taylor and Brooke to pursue him. He waffles around in the meantime, enjoying both his cake and the other ex-wife. Bold and the Beautiful. When Nick comes back, Ridge Forrester's envy increases. Now that Nick is involved, Brooke might finally abandon Ridge. Perhaps Brooke will realize that she has a dusty future with Ridge. He is unworthy of her. She should fall in love with Nick. Keep an eye out for the start of it all on Monday. Taylor cringes. Ridge just has to say it once. This week, the CBS soap opera Bold and the Beautiful gave us too many scenes of Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes together. That can only indicate that a storm is approaching, and Ridge will probably pop Taylor's bubble the following week. Brave and gorgeous, Taylor Hayes enjoys the silence before the storm. The situation was set by Taylor Hayes giving Ridge Forrester a lot of praise at the end of the week on Bold and the Beautiful. She thinks her life would be impossible without the dressmaker, whom she loves. Naturally, Ridge is thrilled, but his expression changes and the audience understands when Taylor brings up Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang. This occurs at the same moment Taylor says Brooke can no longer obstruct them the way she used to. Perhaps Ridge is unsure of it. However, Taylor Hayes might have to retract her statement that Brooke is no longer an issue for her and Ridge Forrester next week. Additionally, according to spoilers, Taylor and Eric Forrester discuss his opinions on Brooke and Ridge. Eric was involved in the scheme to pair Ridge and Brooke with Brooke in the fashion show's star, as you may recall. Additionally, Eric told Ridge that Brooke, not Taylor, is where he belongs. Despite his love for Taylor, Eric thinks Ridge and Brooke ought to get back together. It appears that Taylor phones Eric as part of his effort to reintegrate Brooke into Ridge's life. However, something occurs that makes Taylor think that Ridge might feel the same way. Bold and Beautiful. Jack Wagner teases the future by saying Nick and Brooke are endgame. B&B. Taylor is everything to Ridge Forrester until Nick Marone is a different Nick Marone in Bold and the Beautiful. He is more self-assured and a man who is aware of his desires, which is Brooke Logan. This week, Brooke was almost pathetic, remaining by herself at work after hours to avoid having to return home to an empty house. She used the word destiny once again when she told Hope Logan, Annika Noel, that she knew Ridge was hers. Taylor Hayes' Ridge Forrester is bold and beautiful. Since Ridge moved her in with him, It appears that they have nearly reached the point of no return, which makes Hope sad for her mother. However, that is insufficient, and it appears that Taylor discovers that Ridge cannot simply forget Brooke on Bold and the Beautiful the next week. Brave and lovely. Does Ridge's comfort level begin to decline? The player who makes a change on Bold and the Beautiful the next week is Nick Marone. He comes with a purpose and a message. Brooke Logan is involved in both. First, his message. Brooke needs to get off the vicious cycle she has been on with Ridge Forrester for decades. The objective is to claim Brooke as his own. When Ridge states that he doesn't like the guy, a preview of The Bold and the Beautiful shows a glimpse of Taylor's face. Despite its briefness, the expression conveys despair. Although the trailer just reveals that, B&B fans assume Ridge is referring to Nick Marone. Early June 16th to 20th spoilers for Bold and Beautiful. Nick entices Brooke and Luna fires. Additionally, Taylor's expression suggests that she is aware that Nick is spending time with Brooke. She should benefit from this. Brooke would cease preying on Ridge and get off Taylor's back if she was distracted by another guy. B&B. Is history repeating itself in Taylor? It appears like Taylor Hayes won't have to be concerned about Brooke Logan pursuing Ridge Forrester on Bold and the Beautiful the next week. Rather, it appears that Ridge is unable to conceal his envy of another guy in Brooke's presence. Taylor Hayes is therefore probably concerned that her future with Ridge Forrester will turn out the way it has in the past. Perhaps Nick will win Brooke over with a rebound romance because she is so heartbroken from losing Ridge. However, if she isn't interested, she could stage things to appear as though she is and act very dramatic around Ridge. The game will then begin when he curls his toes in jealousy. There's no doubt that Taylor will interpret Ridge's complaints about Nick as jealousy towards Brooke after hearing them just once. Ridge might be able to bring Taylor back to earth. The fact is that Ridge will always return to Brooke on the CBS soap opera. Remy's tight spot, Nick and Ridge showdown, and Steffi's horrifying discovery. According to The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for the upcoming 2 weeks, June 16th to 27th, Nick Marone and Ridge Forrester will square off, and Steffi Forrester will have to deal with a terrifying discovery. Since Remy Price can also find himself in a difficult situation, let's talk about what's upcoming on B&B. Luna Nozawa will use a long lens to sneak up on Hayes Finnegan, Brian David Garlick, during his time with Steffi over the week of June 16th to 20th. Later, Hayes will get a gift from Luna during a covert private visit. It will be much simpler for Luna to kidnap Hayes and provoke a horrible situation for Steffi if she can gain his trust. When Nick comes back, kisses her, and offers her another romantic path to follow, Brooke Logan's feelings will be all over the place. After learning about all the most recent events, Katie Logan, Heather Tom, will have a lot to say about Brooke's romantic life. Taylor Hayes will realize in the interim that Ridge isn't entirely over Brooke, particularly as his jealousy over Nick's interest in her intensifies. A confrontation between Nick and Ridge is imminent, but it will primarily consist of Ridge snapping while a smug Nick has fun. There will be lots of exciting encounters to watch as Taylor and Brooke continue to show animosity. When Steffi contacts Daphne Rose and pressures her to move back to Los Angeles, she will unnerve Hope Logan. Since Hope is so fixated with Carter Walton, she will gripe about Steffi's attempts to bring the nose back, even though she would prefer that Daphne remain in Paris. Given that Luna is ready to proceed with her kidnapping plan, the week of June 23rd to 27th should see some increasing Hayes drama. If Steffi discovers Hayes has vanished, she might end up making a terrifying discovery. Steffi will need to exercise caution because Luna can get in touch with him shortly after and begin making demands. It is conceivable that Luna would urge that Steffi come to a remote area by herself. If Steffi gives in to her evil schemes, Luna may assure Hayes that she will be secure. Nevertheless, she may caution Steffi not to tell John Finnegan, Tanner Novlan, about this. Remy might find himself in a difficult situation, particularly if Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, learns of Hayes' disappearance and believes Remy might know anything useful. It's important to remember that Remy might even be persuaded to watch Hayes for Luna while she battles Steffi. Keep an eye out for updates on Remy's next move, as Luna is a troublemaker who is ready to involve him in her issues. Stay tuned for some terrifying chaos over the next 2 weeks, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke is stunned by Nick's flirtatious return. Former lovers reunite on The Bold and the Beautiful. Nick Marone has made a dramatic comeback to Los Angeles in a surprising turn of events that is shaking The Bold and the Beautiful universe, and he isn't wasting any time in making his presence known. His sudden return knocked Brooke Logan off balance right away, rekindling emotions neither of them had anticipated returning so soon. Fans saw a flirtatious, tense reunion between two ex-lovers whose passionate past is impossible to forget as Nick boldly returned to Brooke's world. What began as a straightforward reunion has swiftly evolved into a possible revival of one of the soap opera's most passionate partnerships, one that may once more put Brooke, Rich, and the entire Forrester family in jeopardy. Nick's comeback wasn't subtle at all. His signature charisma, light-hearted humor, and indisputable chemistry with Brooke were evident from the moment he arrived. For devoted fans, it was like traveling back in time to a time when the depth, passion, and tragic turns of Nick and Brooke's love story enthralled audiences. Family ties, betrayals, and personal tragedies have muddled their history of obvious attraction. There was always a spark, though, and Nick's self-assured, flirtatious attitude when he saw Brooke again demonstrated that the spark might still be very powerful. At first, Brooke experienced a mix of emotional bewilderment, anxious exhilaration, and disbelief. She didn't anticipate seeing Nick again, much less experiencing the emotional upheaval that his presence brought her. Nick's reappearance reminded Brooke of the different sort of love she once shared with him, despite everything that has transpired since their breakup, including several marriages, the raising of children, and Rich's constant presence in her life. In contrast to her complex past with Rich, Nick had a strong sense of camaraderie, adventure, and safety in addition to passion. The scene where they reunited was exquisitely loud. Without wasting any time, Nick teased Brooke with seductive comments that were deftly tempered between light-hearted and aggressive. With a grin in his eye, he brought up their past, gently reminding her of their enjoyable times together while simultaneously observing her response. Despite her nervousness, Brooke couldn't help but grin, a smile that conveyed both happy memories and a persistent interest in what might still be between them. Both performers skillfully rekindled the on-screen alchemy that made their relationship so captivating in previous years, making it a masterclass in soap opera chemistry. Nick's comeback couldn't have come at a more difficult moment for Brooke. Although steady at the moment, her relationship with Rich has always been vulnerable to both personal insecurities and external factors. From Rich's liaisons with Taylor and Shauna to Brooke's personal relationships with Bill Spencer and Deacon Sharp, the two have experienced many highs and lows. In actuality, their love journey has frequently been a roller coaster of betrayal, forgiveness, and longing, despite their mutual declarations that they were meant to be together. Nick's abrupt return to Brooke's life could rekindle old fears and make her reevaluate what and who she really wants. As expected, Rich's response to Nick's homecoming has been erratic. Almost immediately, Rich and Nick's long-standing hostility was rekindled. Aside from Nick's brief marriage to Rich's own mother, Jackie Marone, Rich has never really forgiven Nick for his past relationships with Brooke. Their fight is as much about Brooke's identity as it is about pride and family heritage. Rich's faith in their relationship is directly challenged by Nick's return, as he is a guy who once managed to separate Brooke from Rich. As she watches all of this happen, Taylor finds herself in a familiar yet uneasy situation. She is aware of Rich's intense possessiveness towards Brooke and his fears. Taylor, who once fought Brooke for Rich's affection, now believes that history would repeat itself, but this time, Nick would be the cause of Brooke's heartbreak. The strain that Nick's reappearance has added to the current plot is highlighted by Taylor's worried looks and their private exchanges with Rich. Nick, meantime, appears very comfortable re-entering these complex interactions. He may very well be interested in rekindling his romance with Brooke, or at the absolute least, experimenting to see whether the attraction still exists, given his cool confidence and innate appeal. Although it's unclear if Nick has mischievous or merely loving intentions, his subtly suggestive actions towards Brooke make it clear that he hasn't completely thrown out the prospect of a second chance. Longtime Bold and Beautiful fans, many of whom have been demanding Nick's return for years, are once again excited by the flirtatious interactions between Nick and Brooke. Their pairing was always a welcome change from the never-ending Rich-Brooke-Taylor triangle, giving Brooke a relationship based on sincere love and respect for one another instead of ongoing rivalry and emotional blackmail. Nick presents an alluring what-if scenario. What if Brooke might find contentment outside of her long-term relationship with Rich? Even Brooke appears conflicted. She can't deny how attracted and at ease she is with Nick, and it's obvious that his reappearance arouses feelings she had long suppressed. Despite the fragility of their recent reconciliation, she is still deeply committed to Rich, at least for the time being. In order to learn from her mistakes and continue pursuing happiness, Brooke has always had to strike a balance between her enthusiasm and her sense of self-respect. Brooke is forced to consider whether her devotion to Ridge stems from habit or genuine happiness when Nick reappears. Nick's return has also created the possibility of new professional entanglements, which has added even more complexity. Nick may have financial goals that coincide with Forrester Creations because he is a shrewd businessman and was once the head of Marone Industries. In addition to bringing Nick closer to Brooke, Nick would also increase tensions with Ridge, Eric, and the other members of the Forrester family if he pursued a stake or engagement in Forrester activities. High-stakes drama on The Bold and the Beautiful has always flourished at the nexus of personal and professional connections. Nick's presence may raise the stakes even further. Of course, Nick's reappearance might have an effect on more than just Brooke. As Nick's presence upends long-standing relationships, other characters with close ties to him, like Bridget Forrester, Katie Logan, and even Jackie Marone, can be drawn back into the plot. In particular, Bridget and Nick have a complex past because they were once married and experienced devastating loss together. As past scars re-emerge, Bridget's response to Nick's reappearance may add yet another level of emotional consequences. Brooke's sister Katie might potentially act as a warning. Katie, who has always been extremely protective of Brooke, can remind her of the hurt Nick once inflicted and make her wonder if it's really a good idea to go back and look at that period of her life. However, Katie has also come to terms with a lot of her own love failures, and if she thinks Nick has truly changed and offers a better way forward, she might end up standing with Brooke. Fans are left wondering if Nick and Brooke's playful reunion will last or if it has the potential to become anything more. One of the most captivating love triangles the program has seen in recent years is set up by Brooke's emotional weakness and Nick's self-assured pursuit. Ridge's grip on Brooke's emotions might ultimately encounter its biggest obstacle yet if she lets herself investigate what is obviously still present between them. Nick's return to The Bold and the Beautiful is a daring step that could reshape the future while also paying homage to the show's rich past for those who have watched it for decades. The potential of their love rekindling provides a new level of intrigue to the constantly shifting plot, and his chemistry with Brooke is still intense. Their chats are also filled with unsaid emotions. One thing is clear as the plot develops: Brooke is shocked by Nick's flirtatious return, and this reunion of a past flame may pave the way for emotional conflicts, family strife, and romantic choices that will reverberate throughout the Forresters' and Logan's lives and beyond. The Bold and the Beautiful promises to have viewers on the edge of their seats as this thrilling plot unfolds, with hearts on the line and long-standing rivalries rekindled.